Hello, welcome to the Special Report, your news and views program about geek gaming culture on the internet. Coming up in the show today, a bit of a more positive story than the ones I've been doing recently, thank God. Kim Possible is going to get a live action movie remake on the Disney Channel, although it's a Disney Channel original movie. And that might rub some people the wrong way, although I will talk about what I think about it and what I think the Kim Possible franchise should be getting, including something that has to do with Marvel, and what the sitch is about the Disney Channel that is leading to this happening in the first place. My name is JD Shadow, and the special report is starting right now. Kim Possible, the series that was created by Mark McCoco and Robert Scully that ran on Disney Channel from 2002 to 2007, is going to get a live-action remake in the form of a movie on the Disney Channel. Now, we'll talk all about that whole idea of it being on the Disney Channel in just a moment. But if you do not know what Kim Possible was, it was an animated series about a female red-headed high school teenager who was also a crime fighter. Think of a sort of Batman-esque style superhero who didn't really have superpowers, but had a lot of gadgets and stuff like that. Although she didn't wear a bat suit and all of that other stuff, she didn't really need to. The series was well known for its pop culture references and was also known for the creators who didn't exactly take their audience as really stupid. There was stuff that was aimed at kids, of course, but it also gained a kind of cult following because of the fact that it didn't treat its audience as idiots, as I said. There was a whole lot of stuff that made some anime fans want to stop and take a peek. Of course, the whole idea of Kim Possible might have been the inspiration behind later series, more notably Miraculous Ladybug, which kind of takes on a similar feel to that whole series. The show lasted 4 seasons, and it actually incorporated self-contained stories as well as overarching story arcs. We will no doubt remember how we felt about the relationship between Kim Possible and her sidekick Ron Stoppable as the series progressed through. There was a whole lot of shipping going on there. So, co-directors and co-producers Adam B. Stein and Zach Lipinski, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, are doing casting calls for a upcoming Disney Channel original movie, a live-action remake of the Kim Possible franchise. According to Entertainment Weekly, I don't know if they're the ones who got to this first, but that's the one where I'm getting the quotes from. Casting director Blythe Nowling is leading the charge to see who will play the typical high school student who saves the world. The movie was written by Josh Kagan of The Duff and original series creators Mark McCoco, Robert Scully, who will also executive produce with Zan Devine. In a statement from Disney Channels Worldwide, Executive Vice President of Original Programming Adam Bonnet said, quote, "Mark and Bob created an enduring character and kids all over the world found a friend in her, an average girl who just happens to spend her off-school hours thwarting evil villains. Although Kim Possible can't do anything, kids and tweens found that this animated redhead was just like them. As we embark on the fun challenge of making Kim and Ron fully dimensional, I'm thrilled to be working again with Mark and Bob, and to welcome the addition of a dynamic creative team, Josh, Zan, Adam, and Zach, into a world where anything is indeed possible." Disney Channel, of course, needs a shot in the arm where in 2017, the ratings for the Disney Channel fell 23% according to TubeFilter among its core demographic during the first half of 2017. And yes, the usual culprits being digital streaming, which Disney does have their own digital streaming service, who doesn't anymore. But also, their series have not seemingly to catch on in recent years, so quite frankly, they do need this to get back on track. And what better way than to get probably one of the last great Disney Channel original series pre-Hannah Montana era. But here's where I have to step in with some of my opinions, and they're going to be kind of good and bad to this because I'm not quite sure how I feel about this whole idea. I'm fine with a live-action Kim Possible movie. I thought that this was long overdue for there to be maybe an expansion of the franchise, maybe an expansion of the character. Where does it go from there? They had a gold mine of stuff they could do with that character, they could do with that series, and yet they left it on the table after 4 seasons. Now, if you recall, there was a huge push to get a 4th season because at that point in time, there was this whole rule that Disney had in which a series could not go beyond 65 or 66 episodes or something like that. There was this whole weird rule about that because this is how they felt about animated series, that they did not last very long until people started tuning them out. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would like to say hi to that because it lasted 10 freaking seasons before it was canceled by CBS and Viacom, whoever had it at that point in time, was on CBS when the first 1990 series was canceled in 97. And as a side note, the Season 8 series was, in fact, one of their best seasons they had in the Red Sky series. I'm not one of those who's going to say, oh, I hate the Red Sky series. I actually think they were vastly underrated, that whole vast of 3 seasons in which they changed the theme song and all of that. I think it was a vastly underrated series of episodes there, but I digress. The whole nature of that is that Disney Channel did have that weird rule, and there was a push for Disney Channel to please give it a proper send-off. And for a while, they thought So the Drama, which was a animated Disney Channel original movie, and I'll get to why that's relevant here in just a moment, was thought to have been the very last episode, was set to tie up the loose ends, and we all know what happened at the end of that movie. But they ended up getting the 4th season, and in that, they gave us one of the better villains that they ever created in Warmonger and Warhawk. I think I'm getting the 2 war things correct there, but that was one of the more threatening villains that KP has ever had in that series. Yes, Dragon and Shigo were probably the de facto villains in that, with some of the other villains playing sort of a smaller role in conjunction with Dragon and Shigo, but in my mind, Warhawk could have become maybe the dark side of the KP series, in which he was the most threatening villain that they ever had. And you kind of saw that Disney was willing to let the creators get away with some stuff. In the Disney Channel movie So the Drama, you saw that KP bled a little bit. You hardly ever see that in Disney films, though I gotta be quite honest, Disney kinda does let some things slide sometimes. I was very, very surprised that they would actually let, in kids shows, a character use the word hell, which Jonathan Frakes did in the Gargoyles premiere. If you ever watched that show, that's a very underrated show too. And of course, in Sleeping Beauty, I think it was, where the witch says, "Open Hell's Gate." And keep in mind that in one of the Kim Possible episodes, there was even a Shaft reference. When you ever hear of a kids show reference Shaft? And the referenced words were, "Bad mother, shut your mouth." I mean, anybody who knew of the reference knew what came next when Kim Possible said the word "shut your mouth." That was going to be a kind of obscene term. So yeah, this was a show that actually transcended age groups. It transcended demographics, and it is a very good thing that they're thinking about bringing this whole thing back, because to be quite honest, I don't think that it could have stopped at 4 seasons. It could have gone on for a long time if it did things right. That having been said, I thought the graduation episodes were a great send-off, tying up loose ends and having conclusions to all the storylines that they were going at that point in time. And I didn't think that maybe a 5th season would have fared the series well, given how graduation cleared everything up. Unless it gets to what I'm about to mention here, because given all the properties that Disney has now, there can be some room for her to really expand. So one of the things that is bothering me about this whole thing is the fact that it is a Disney Channel original movie. Now, let's be quite honest. Besides High School Musical, what sort of recent Disney Channel movie has really captured anybody's interest? Even the High School Musical movies were done to death. I don't think there's really been any real great Disney Channel movie that you can turn to and say, hey, there's a great one there. They hit a gold mine there. I don't think there's really anything to say that they hit the jackpot on any of those in recent years. And it goes also to the whole thing that the Disney Channel has not really produced a big hit recently. Yes, they hit a gold mine with Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, and they also kind of got a good thing going with Selena Gomez, and they got a big star out of those two things. But recently, have you seen any breakout stars becoming big names and sparking the interest that those two Disney Channel stars did at that point in time? No, you don't hear about that anymore. That is a problem right now, and Disney Channel's dependency on those type of shows is nipping them in the bud. They are being highly dependent on that, and it's showing, and it's not doing well with them. They have to find some way in order to have that shot in the arm, and maybe this is it. However, that having been said, and knowing that both Stitch in Time and Soda Drama, two Disney Channel original movies that were Kim Possible movies, did extremely well and they were extremely well received, I don't think that KP is going to be served well as a franchise by just having a Disney Channel original movie in the live action. I'm fine with it being live action, but if you're going to do something like this, let's go all out. Let's have a full theatrical release. Let's bring it to the big screen. Let's go into theaters. Let's have an MPAA rating on it. Go all out with it and make something that is going to fare well with it. Let's have something that all age groups are going to really enjoy. And yeah, despite the fact that I think some of the things he said is exploiting the social progressive kick that we are on right now in order to further his bottom line, I do believe that Joss Whedon could do the whole series justice by making a full-on theatrical release. But there is another idea that I think they could do here, and I do believe that this goes into something that Disney Channel should probably do as a whole. Because when you think of Disney, you don't just think of like kids shows. You don't think of Mickey Mouse anymore. You don't think of that, well, you do, but not by themselves anymore. You think of things like Star Wars. You think of things like Marvel. You think of things like sports or ABC. They have a full conglomerate that they could use there. Disney Channel probably needs to be more of, okay, everything Disney or everything that has to do with Disney throughout the years. I always thought that Disney Channel could fare well by incorporating maybe an Adult Swim type of schedule where you have more risque cartoons. You could have reruns of things that were on ABC back in the day. You could have dramas on there. You could do a whole bunch of things that they never do because they're so fixated on the tween and kid audience on that channel. And I don't get why. It should incorporate all forms of Disney related shows and movies. I think there is room on the channel for something like that. Why don't they do that? If you look at Cartoon Network, yeah, I get it. Cartoon Network has fallen into a similar rut right now. But what do they have that Disney Channel currently does not have? A form of content aimed at an older audience. They have the Adult Swim and Toonami schedules. They have the anime there. They have DBZ Super on there. They have a whole bunch of other shows that are geared toward older audiences, and Disney Channel does not have that, and they could be fared well by doing something like that. And one of the things that they could do in that sort of regard is to get the Marvel stuff on there, to start incorporating maybe some more mature-oriented Marvel superhero stuff on that channel. And why am I bringing Marvel up in the Kim Possible story? It is because one of the headcanons that I've had, and you're gonna laugh at this, but please hear me out on this, is that I always thought you could incorporate Kim Possible into the Marvel universe. Because think about it. Does Marvel right now have a Batman-esque style character who was not just given superpowers accidentally or wasn't born with like supernatural abilities, who decided, hey, I have a moral compass, I have a moral obligation to fight evil and to fight bad guys and stuff like that, whose only superpowers is in the form of gadgets that they use and the absence of fear for certain things? Do they really have that kind of character? I don't think they do, at least not in my knowledge of it. Kim Possible could fill that void. Kim Possible could be that one person who is the Batman-esque type of person without all the whole thing of her family dying or her wearing a bat suit or anything like that. I'm not saying to do that, but there's a void for someone who just has a moral obligation to do good. They don't really have any supernatural powers or anything like that, but they don't need to have it. All they really need is a sense of regard to do something good. Now, I know what somebody may be saying, oh, but Kim Possible, she's willing to become a superhero, and all these Marvel characters, they didn't ask to be dragged into it, and they would rather not be dragged into needing to fight. Well, that could be a dynamic that could be explored as well. I've yet to see even DC tackle that sort of thing, to where you have somebody who doesn't really want to be a part of any superhero type thing, and then somebody who is, and they kind of have a conflict based upon that. And there probably is that in DC somewhere, but again, in the modern times, I don't think I've seen it lately, if at all. And to be quite honest, look at all the possibilities you could have at that point in time. I always thought that Kim Possible could be a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., or maybe even the Avengers. Have her mingle with likes of Captain America or Iron Man and stuff like that. There are a ton of different storylines you could probably do with that. If you remember from the show, there was this whole organization known as Global Justice. Who's to say that they couldn't be incorporated into S.H.I.E.L.D., into Nick Fury's outfit? Or maybe have something where Betty Director was maybe a sister for Nick Fury, or maybe she was an adopted sister of his. And maybe they were in the same war, that's why they got that patch in their eye, because Global Justice was perhaps the parody of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was a offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe there's something you could do with that. Team Go and She-Go. That was sort of a parody of the Fantastic Four. Why not incorporate her as maybe the fifth person or something like that? I've always thought that perhaps she would fit really well with the Marvel Universe. And get this, Marvel is owned by Disney. Bingo! There you go. Not only do you breathe brand new life into the KP franchise, but look at how the Marvel Universe could be given a new character to work with. Look at all the crossover villains you could have. Who's to see that maybe Kim Possible couldn't be able to fight the Red Skull? Which I thought maybe if she would be a part of the Avengers, that would be maybe her main villain there is the Red Skull. For whatever reason I might have had. Or imagine her working with the X-Men, or Professor Xavier, or maybe even Spider-Man. For all intents and purposes, that would be an interesting team up right there, wouldn't it? Her and Spider-Man? I know a good bit about Spider-Man. So yeah, that would be a dream come true, although please, please, please take over Disney from Sony, because Sony sucks at making movies. But in any event, that would be something that could also benefit Disney Channel, because look at all the different stories you could get out of that. And look at the main problem there that I think Disney Channel has had. Incorporate the Marvel Universe into your programming, and perhaps that could be a recipe for a great schedule. And plus, guess what you get? Live action movies! Bingo! Live action movies right there at your fingertips. A huge amount of stories can be made up through that whole idea. But having that all been said, I'm willing to give this a chance. I mean, quite frankly, I think the last two Kim Possible movies that were on the network did pretty well. I do believe that they deserve at least a chance here, but I would have loved to see him broaden the scope of this. I would love to see maybe Disney try to restart the whole series, or maybe the whole franchise, into maybe the Marvel Universe. That would be a great thing for not only the Kim Possible fandom, but also the Marvel Universe fandom. You can really tell I want that, do you? If you do that, Disney, send checks payable to me. I'll gladly take them. But in any event, yeah, I'm serious too. You could probably incorporate that into the Marvel Universe. It's right for the taking there. Is really a gold mine there. But as far as this whole movie, there is this whole thing of casting and who are they going to cast for this whole movie, who is going to take the title role. I have no idea, actually. I really do not know any current actresses who could actually fill that role, the redhead. I do have an idea who you could make as maybe Dragon, or maybe She-Go, or somebody like that. Maybe not anybody who has been to the public eye recently, but I do have a few ideas. I'm going to keep it to myself because, quite frankly, I want to hear what you guys think. Leave your comments down below about who you think should be in this movie, provided that they do the right thing here and all that other stuff. And also, what do you think about KP possibly being a Marvel Universe character or franchise? I would like to know if you guys agree with me on that. That's gonna do it for this edition of the special report. And as always, I want you to hit that like button. It does help me out a great deal. Also, if you really like what you see in here, please go and hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate when everybody does that. That actually helps me in the YouTube algorithm, because you know, YouTube likes to screw with all of us, and they're doing it again right recently. You've heard that news, but this is a more positive thing. This is a more positive thing than the special reports I've done recently. Thank God for that. As always, have a great day, everybody. My name is Shady Shadow, and that just happened. Oh, and KP in Kingdom Hearts 3, that always helps as well.